Hi, Christian and Alessandra. I thought you might like to see both of yours side by side. Get the other one here. Okay, so I think you're both very strong designers. And one of the backwards things about this assignment is that you don't get the content first. You're sort of designing it upside down. Um, so that makes it difficult for talented designers to know how to start. Unfortunately, the reality of the design world is this is really how it happens. I'm not sure the class designer intended that, but it is real world. So when I worked as a news artist, my title was visual journalist. That was a title that didn't really take off in the world of newspaper, but I had a little card that said that. So I always thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, um, I would know, for example, I did a piece about Haiti that had, I don't know, it had at least 5 different elements to it. And a lot of it I wrote myself, I researched myself, but it was paired with a story about Haiti that some reporter wrote, and I had to wait for them to finish the story in order to finish it off. But prior to that, I would just sit and I would design the whole thing and just wait to plug it all in, and then from there, tweak it. So that's kind of what you guys are doing. So don't despair. All right. So I'm looking at yours side by side. I'm gonna make your zoom in a bit more, Christian. I think that this first one, I think they both look so good, but the first one looks more like an information graphic to me that might be seen in an annual report. You know, it probably wouldn't be shown in public setting. And Alejandra, I like yours too. It's very well organized. However, it's a little tricky to read because just reading white type alone is hard. And I think because of that, Christian's is a little easier to read because he just keeps it in small, easy to digest chunks. And then he's turned anything visual that you can make visual into a little graphic. So I wonder if you could, number one, narrow down the graphic. Number two, is there something in here that you could make visual? You know, I know students love to use logos. It makes everything look automatically professional. And I typically don't encourage them to do that, especially with the resumes. I think it looks kind of, to be honest, looks cheesy to put every Creative Cloud logo on there. I mean, everybody uses that tool, right? So that said, it might be interesting to see some of these logos in this box. It would break up some of the dense type in there. Another thing I wanted to mention, I really like Christian's beautifully designed bottle cap that has sort of the light source, and they're very animated. So not only are they bottle caps, but they really look three-dimensional. So I thought that was a nice touch. You might want to study the bottle caps just a little bit more because they do look like gears, and they also look a little bit like peanut butter cups. Neither which are bad things, but just take a look at Christian's and see if you get some idea about it. So Christian, I think yours could still have a little more information. It is very graphics heavy, but out of the two that you showed, that I like this one the most because it looks more like an information graphic. So it's a little tight right up here where these two little paragraphs meet. See if you can adjust the spacing so that there's a little less air down here. You can even it out more. And then what I mentioned before is that you want to be consistent with your grammar. So you just have a period on all these except for this one and this one. And it just looks like an oversight. So one suggestion I had, so you're already using a cursive in italics rather right up here. But one thing we did with information graphics at the newspaper is we would have a headline and then underneath it, they called that subtext. And the subtext introduced the graphic. We always put the subtext in italics. And that was always right under the headline. And that was a nice way to introduce the viewer into the graphics. So think about that. But like I said, you already have this beautiful script font up here, and it would make it sort of tricky to put a big block of introductory text right there, but it might be something you can shift around, redesign. Beautiful bottle. I love the blue in there. You always expect this ugly brown color. I hate to go on and on these videos, but I like this one too. I really like the air. I like how you're subdividing the sections, and I can tell that you are thinking about trying to break up the type and make it easier to read. I also like how you're playing with the type here to show emphasis. It gets a little decorative over here, you know, rather than an information graphic, it's an illustration, which is fine, but I would want to see a little bit more technical. 3.6 star rating out of what? Out of 5? Maybe that's not so good. And why is variety in a circle? So you're telling the viewer that these are sort of information graphics because they're numerical, but variety isn't. So reconsider putting variety in a circle. Just you want to kind of give the viewers a visual key and stick with it. So again, Christian, I like this one too. It's really beautiful, weighty decoration. I like how you played with the swoosh. I'm sure they have a name for that. It looks very wintry, refreshing. It does look less of an information graphic. It's quite beautiful. But again, I would just, you know, be consistent with the periods if you can use this one, and then try to space it out like perfectly. All right. So anyway, both of these are really good, and it's fun to see how two really strong designers interpret the assignment. Let me know if you have any questions.